Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl at Fashion with Aisha. I'm back with another video and it's another Mindfulness Monday video. So I've got some ideas for you all to think about, ponder, leave a comment to go deeper into the subject. If you have a question, of course, you could put those in the comments as well. So as you can tell from the title, we're going to be talking about confidence versus self-esteem. So again, entertainment purposes only. If you need a professional psychologist, psychotherapist, anything of mental health expert, seek out that. And if you are not able to access that for different reasons, resources, etc., please contact me and I can send you some resources, or maybe I can link some in the description so you can get some access to some free things that should be available to the public. So again, I'm an amateur. I am not a professional, but I do have some thoughts on this. I use these words quite often in my videos, and I don't want you to think that they're interchangeable, but of course they overlap because they're both psychology terms, psychological terms. So I do want to discuss them, and I think it's important for us to understand the differences and the similarities in it. So make sure if you're on TikTok, you tune into my YouTube channel. I have the same if you'd like to continue this conversation there. So, of course, as we navigate life in our relationships, work, career opportunities, different circumstances in life, there's so many things that are affecting us, our emotions, our thoughts, and our decisions. So, your confidence and your self-esteem is one of those main things that I think really determines people's success in life. And we all have our own different definitions of success, but whatever that is to you, I think your confidence and self-esteem will definitely determine how successful you will be in your relationships, career, and your overall internal self-worth. So let's get into it. So confidence. Your confidence is your ability to succeed. So just think of a simple task, one simple outward external task. That is your confidence. So how you're able to conquer something, defeat something, those are tasks. And we have those through our confidence. We can complete those through how confident we are in something. Your ability to trust in your own choices, that's another form of confidence. How emotionally secure you are, like you be able to regulate your emotions in the appropriate circumstances and opportunities. And then your overall capability, whatever you think your capabilities are in task and circumstances. So self-esteem, now we're going to move to self-esteem. Self-esteem is what you think your own worth or your own value is. It's your own self-evaluation of your personal, internal thoughts. It's this one is kind of harder for me to explain because it can be affected by external forces even more than your confidence. For example, if you think of when you're younger and we were raised, whoever was raising you, your guardian, a lot of the things they said or did can definitely affect your own self-esteem and how you feel about yourself. So a lot of self-esteem is affected by other outsiders, how they perceive us. It can be deterred by negative influences. So if someone was talking to you down when you were younger, they told you you were ugly, you're not smart, you'll never get there, you're not gifted, things of that nature, then that will definitely affect your self-esteem and make it seem like it's lower. You'll feel like you're not as valuable. You don't feel like you are meant to be here on this earth. You don't feel like you have love to give and that you should be loved by someone. And your self-esteem is one of those things that just naturally gets better as you get older. We see a lot of children in middle school and high school. A lot of kids have lower self-esteem because they have not been through enough life experiences to develop those over time. And we know you see a lot of older people, they always say, oh, I don't need to have a lot of friends. I don't need to have a big birthday party. I don't need someone to tell me that I did well on a presentation or that I'm pretty or beautiful, because they know through all of the experiences in life that they've been through, all of those help them to determine their own self-esteem and self-worth on this planet. So I think this is really important for us, and especially our channel, is because when we're talking about relationships with friends, your superiors in work, family members, and romantic relationships, how you feel about your own self-confidence to be able to complete tasks, and your own self-worth, how you value yourself, that will definitely determine how those relationships pan out, and if it'll be beneficial for you, beneficial for the other person, or mutually beneficial. So I think, for an example, if you are dating a man, and we talked about how I said my cons and the reasons why I don't always promote you all to go and date online is because a lot of the times a man with low confidence, he will not approach you if he saw you in person, because he doesn't believe that he could succeed in getting your number. He doesn't believe that he can conquer the task of meeting you and being able to ask you out on a date, and you receiving it and saying yes, or you giving him your number, or you continue on the conversation and not shutting him down. So that would be his confidence in himself. His confidence in himself would be his thought that he could approach you and he could get your number. Oh, thank you, Diamond. I just got it trimmed yesterday because I've been flat ironing my hair every week. And Diamond says my hair is stunning, and it was so damaged, so I just needed to trim it, and then I'm gonna figure out another hairstyle to do, because it's not working me putting this much heat on my hair every week. So low confidence guy won't even approach you because he doesn't think that he will get the number. He doesn't think he'll get the date. A low self-esteem guy, after seeing you and seeing how beautiful you are, seeing how smoothly and flowy you walk in the building, and your mannerisms and just your speech, he'll see you, think about all of those things, about how beautiful you are, yada yada yada, and he won't think that he is good enough to approach you because of how excellent you may be or how gorgeous that you are. He doesn't think his beauty is worth your beauty. He doesn't think that what he is inside is good enough to date a girl like you. So that would be the difference between a man who saw you in person, if his confidence will allow him to approach you, if his self-esteem will allow him to approach you. Because I use those words a lot, especially when we're talking about dating. So that's why I say online dating is hard to determine if a man has high confidence and has high self-esteem, because he can just look at your profile online and he doesn't feel anything if you don't match with him, because it's not a direct correlation. It's not a direct consequence. It's kind of on the back of his head. Of course, they say after all of the times of women not matching back or liking back, then over time that can affect their confidence and self-esteem, of course. But that just instant you seeing your profile, that him not liking or sending that message would be the confidence thing. But the self-esteem thing would come in if he looks at you and he's like, oh my God, yeah, no, she's too pretty, she's too good, moving on. And you would never know, even if he did click you and he had low self-esteem, he doesn't think he's good enough to date you, he still might click you because he's not in person doing it to your face. He doesn't actually feel the same emotions and feelings he would if he was in that restaurant or in that grocery store with you. So that's why I say it's really hard to determine if a guy has great self-esteem or confidence. So people can be, thanks, Diamond. Thanks for the like and the live. You can be confident and you can have low self-esteem. So I want to give you some examples. Think of that star quarterback in a high school. So he can have extreme confidence in his capabilities to score a touchdown, throw a great pass, win the game, dodge a tackle. He can have great confidence in his capabilities of playing football. But internally, his internal worth can be low because, again, it could be from childhood trauma. It could be the way his parents talked about him. It could be maybe some form of neglect. And how we would see that, if I had to use the star quarterback example, is him playing very well on the field, but he disrespects himself by having high risk behaviors. Like maybe he partakes in drugs. Maybe he's having a lot of romantic sexual partners without using protection. Maybe he's causing self-harm to himself, or maybe he is just his thoughts of himself is just low. He just doesn't feel like he is worthy of maybe making a professional team. But that kind of is more of capability, so confidence. So let me get back into self-esteem. So he could be abusive to women. These are kind of extreme examples, okay? Another form of self-esteem is sometimes if you don't take chances to better yourself, to level up, because you don't think you deserve to be a better person. You don't think you deserve to have better experiences in life. So he might not even be studying, reading, taking care of his educational aspects of being a student because he doesn't think he's worthy of being smarter. He doesn't think he's worthy of having educational success, but everything else on the field he's great at. He's confident in making those goals and throwing that football, right? So that's an example. And when I think of someone who's got high confidence but low self-esteem, I think of that guy on Euphoria, Nate Jacobs. He's a perfect example of someone who has high confidence but low self-esteem. He was able to pull the girls. He knew he could pull the ladies. He had no problem with that. He knew he could conquer women and get their numbers and have sexual advances and have them flaunting and pouring and chasing after him. He knew he got that unlocked. But as for himself, he didn't think he was valuable of love. He didn't think he was deserving of good experiences. He didn't think he deserved a healthy romantic relationship. So it kind of showed in his narcissistic tendencies. We don't know if he was if he got evaluated, would he be registered as a narcissist, right? We don't know. But someone brought that up in one of my comments. They said their partner had narcissistic tendencies. So a lot of the times those people have low self-esteem. If you notice, people that have narcissistic tendencies, because that's far different than being a full-fledged diagnosed narcissist. They need someone to be giving them attention at all times. They cannot be alone. They cannot be single. They have to have someone who is attached to them at all times, or they don't feel like they are worthy. So be careful of that. And another person I have from that same show is Kat, the young lady who she wore the pigtails a lot of the times, and she was she started doing sex work online, and she was doing activities on webcam, and she had kind of like a new persona that she was working with. So she was confident in her activities online. She felt confident when she was wearing her cute lingerie, her mask, and flirting and getting men's to send her gifts and money. So she was confident in herself and completing those tasks of conquering men, getting things from them, and just having that full on online persona. However, internally, it seemed like from the viewer, she wasn't really confident in who she was. Even though she was preaching body positivity, even though she was kind of displaying she was body positive, we could see behind the scenes a lot of the times she was kind of hiding her body, and she was trying to kind of contour and make it look different than it already did. And then she kind of had thoughts and like dialogue that would suggest that she wasn't fully confident in who she was, but she kind of showed people that on the outside. So her confidence was high, but internally she didn't think she was so worthy. And then when she was dating that guy, what was his name? I think his name was Ethan, that Kat was dating. He really loved her, cared for her. And as we could see as a viewer, it seemed like he was being really respectful towards her. But she didn't think, my opinion, again, this is all opinion based, she didn't think that she was worthy of Ethan's love. And I think she broke up with him because she just didn't feel like she was good enough to be with someone like him, because he was so great, he was so respectful, and he loved her so much for who she was. She wasn't there. She wasn't ready to accept that love because her self-esteem was so low. Excuse me. And that's why I say this is so important for us to master, ladies, because when we are dating, when we are trying to complete work tasks, when we are just going out in life and showing up in buildings, we can have confidence. But if we don't feel like we are deserving to be in that space, I always tell y'all this. If you guys are always saying, "Oh, excuse me. Oh, I am sorry. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Oh my God, I'm bothering you. Oh my God," like you're always kind of excusing yourself. That is an example that you need to work on your self-esteem, because you don't think you deserve to be in the room. You don't think you deserve to be taking up space. You don't think that you deserve to be here. And I know, trust me, I know when we were younger and those kids in the classroom who were speaking up, answering questions, people would think that they would call them know-it-alls. They would call them bossy if they kind of knew how to delegate. And when you see women in successful executive positions, what do they call women like that when they are confident, able to delegate well, and are brilliant? They call those women the B word. They always refer to women who are doing well in executive positions. They call them B words. They say that you might be on your it's that time of month again, when you're expressing strong emotions. When you're a little girl, they may be telling you, stop being bossy, stop being a know-it-all. So all of those signs are extremely popular when you are younger. People are always trying to push down and diminish female young girls' confidence and self-esteem. And I don't think a lot of people even realize that they're doing it. It's kind of like definitely a societal conditioned behavior that a lot of people do. So we all have to think of those things, especially if you're around any younger girls. Don't say things to her like, try to uplift her as much as you can. Don't say diminishing things. Don't say things to kind of shoot down what they are doing. Be supportive and encourage them to explore and to try new things, because that's kind of overall going to help them with their self-esteem and confidence. So another example I have is Carrie from Sex and the City. She was definitely someone who I think I could say she looked like she exhibited both. I don't think she had high confidence nor high self-esteem, because if you think of it, she was always chasing after big. She didn't think a lot of the times that her writing was even good. And when someone would compliment her, what would she say? "Oh, no," or "Oh, it's just the sex column," or "Oh, it's just my experiences." Like she wouldn't allow herself to feel good about what she was writing a lot of the times. And then when she got with Berger, oh, I hate that storyline so much. That was a waste of time. When she got with Berger, though, that just proved and put a stamp on her having low self-esteem, because she had no business being with that man, because he was extremely, he had no confidence and he had no self-esteem whatsoever, because he couldn't even tolerate Carrie, who just had a little bit of confidence, a little bit of self-esteem. He couldn't even tolerate her, because to him, she was just too good for him. And everything she did made him feel less of a person, because he wasn't doing as well as she was in her writing and her authoress success, right? So Berger was a guy who was just the textbook dictionary definition of a man with low self-esteem. Why? Because he didn't even think he was good enough to date a woman like Carrie. He didn't value himself. He didn't value who he was at all. And then his capabilities as an author, he didn't think he was a good writer. He didn't think he could come up with another book, because I think he was working on his second book. He couldn't even come up with anything to write in that second book. And he was not able to take any constructive criticism. Like when she described the scrunchy thing, that was constructive, because she gave an example of what he could have done and changed. And then she also said that in New York, the women don't wear scrunchies. They may wear a hair tie if they're working out, but just a day-to-day, they don't wear those big scrunchies. And that, he couldn't even take that, because his confidence was so low. He didn't see that him being able to write another book that was better than that. So just that one little constructive feedback just brought him down even more. So that's another example. Next I have is Joan Clayton, again from Girlfriends. Another textbook example of having low self-esteem. And you could even argue she had low confidence, because she didn't feel confident in herself as a lawyer. But we could argue that she wasn't confident in herself as a lawyer because being a lawyer wasn't actually her true passion and her true joy in life. So we could argue that. That's arguable. But for sure, we knew Joan did not have, we knew Joan had low self-esteem. Why? Because she was always chasing after the men. She could never sit back and relax in her feminine and allow them to come after her, because she always felt like she had to prove her self-worth to these men by courting them, by reaching out to them, by making sure that they were going to plan dates and making sure they were going to see her. So she didn't think that she was worthy enough for a man to treat her with respect, to actually treat her as they should have. She always went after them. So that's another person I think is a great example of either both, or just for sure the low self-esteem aspect. And I think if you want to know how we can work on building our self-esteem and building our confidence, it's going out there and trying new things, making goals for yourself, giving yourself a deadline or a time frame, and going out and completing them. And even if you don't always have to have a set timeline or set date to complete goals, because you can continue and go back to goals that you had set out years ago to do. There's really no exact timeline, but if you'd like, you can always add one if you want to push things further along and get things done at a quicker timely fashion. You have to set boundaries. And I talk about this quite often. When you're setting boundaries, that makes it harder for an external factor to affect your self-esteem, because you've already said to yourself, I am not accepting phone calls after 10 p.m. So if someone does text you or call you after 10, you're not going to answer, because you've already set that boundary. But if you didn't have that boundary and you allowed someone to call you after 10 and make last minute plans to come and do a booty call, then you might feel kind of down or saddened out about that, if that's not what you would normally do. If that's not your thing, then you might feel bad about it. But if that is something you do, trust me, I don't have any care about that at all. It does not affect your self-esteem unless you allow it to, and unless that's kind of goes against your own internal motivators, your own internal wishes. So that's kind of ways that you can build your self-esteem and build your confidence is by going out there, making your own choices. You can't allow yourself to blame other people for your own choices and your own decisions in life. That is another way to keep your self-esteem and your confidence high, because again, confidence is completing tasks, self-esteem is your self-worth. So if you make your own choices, you decide on this choice, then you go out there and you complete that choice, and you go out there and you start working on that activity or that journey or that path, then that's going to continue to increase your self-worth and your self-confidence. You have to pursue those goals, find your passions and dreams, and try it out. There's nothing wrong with trying new passions and dreams. Make the time, set aside the money, figure out what you have to do to get there and do it. You might need to start getting a pen and paper, start writing some ideas down, jot some little topics down. If anything, thoughts come in your mind, ideas, jot them down so you don't forget, and you can revisit it and then work out that plan to get there. I was always one of those really imaginative kids. I would play with my Barbies, play with my dolls. And that helped me a lot in my adult life, because now I know exactly where I want to be. I know exactly the task I want to complete, the accomplishments I have, the life that I have envisioned for myself. I know what it is and what it looks like. So now I just have to work towards it. I just have to put in the work, put in the effort to get there. And each time that I accomplish something, each time that I try something new, I'm going to increase that confidence and I'm going to increase that self-esteem. It's really that simple. You have to practice something to get good at it. And when you're practicing something, you're going to build on that confidence to deliver and to succeed at that task. If you're just starting at playing the guitar, what do you have to do? You have to continue to practice. You have to take lessons. You have to watch YouTube videos. You have to learn the notes, and you have to learn how to read the paper and the music. As you continue to do better and to learn and to practice, you're going to feel stronger and better about your ability to play the music, play the guitar. And when you continue to build yourself and your confidence in completing that task, and you keep trying and you don't care about how people think about, oh my gosh, she's just now learning how to play the guitar at 30. Like, what is she doing? What has she got it going on? Like, she can't do that, blah, yada, yada, yada. Those negative influences won't affect you anymore, because your self-esteem is so high that you know that, and you believe in yourself, that you are deserving of learning this new talent. You are deserving of learning this new skill, because you are worth it. Does anyone have any questions about self-esteem or self-confidence that I can go over and revisit for you? I have a couple of extra minutes I can do. I just wanted this to be a quick video, so we're still under 30 minutes. So if anyone has a question, please put it in the comments and I'll answer it for you. YouTube, we're live on TikTok, and TikTok, we're live on YouTube right now. Any comments before I log off? Okay, so we'll finish this last statement by saying confidence is task. Think a actual thing that you do. It's specific. Self-esteem, think internal, think mindfulness, think if other people are around, do you still feel like you are beautiful? Do you still feel like you are that girl when you walk into the room? Are you still that girl even though there's 10 beautiful women in there? Do you still think you're the most beautiful in that room? Or do you lack the self-esteem to think that? And do you lack the confidence to actually go in that room once you look and peek inside and see all those beautiful women? And that's all I have for tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow me on all my socials at Fashion with Aisha. Feel free, like always, to message me on Instagram or TikTok. Those are my public ones. If you have any questions or if you have a idea for tomorrow's live, and then I will be back here live tomorrow. I'll see you. Bye.